Welcome back to MarkTaylor.com. I'm Abhijit and I have with me Mark Taylor himself. And Mark, we've got the new Sony RX10 Mark II, bit of a fabled beast of a camera that's just come out. We've heard weird and wonderful things about it, but you've been putting it to the test.
That's right. It has some amazing specs. 4K internal recording, 1000 frames per second, short burst admittedly, but an amazing capability. I think it's got one of the most advanced sensors Sony have ever built. They can move data traffic off this sensor at an incredible rate, and it's given rise to these amazing new features. It's a fixed lens camera. It falls under the RX range, but it's caused a lot of interest amongst alpha owners as well. It shares the same sensor as the RX10 Mark IV, and both of them have the same capability. Where the RX10, however, is going to gather a lot of interest, it's got a 24-200 constant f2.8 Carl Zeiss T-star lens. Some people have said this camera is a little bit expensive because entry-level DSLRs are cheaper than this camera, but I think they're underestimating the value of the lens attached to this camera.
Claims for a lens to have a zoom capability that much and still maintain f2.8.
Yeah.
You've been testing the lens out. What are your thoughts on it?
I love the lens, and probably it's matched to this 1-inch sensor. 1 inch is obviously smaller than 4/3, the micro 4/3 is it lens, but it's an amazing sensor. I think this sensor is one of the most popular Sony sensors. Other camera manufacturers have come knocking on Sony's door for this 1-inch sensor, because you might think, oh, the sensor's a little bit small, I'll need something at least APS-C or 4/3. But to be honest, I don't think in good light, I don't think you'd be able to spot a difference between images captured with this sensor, the 1-inch sensor, to an entry-level DSLR. I think it's so good.
And you were comparing it with some of the other kind of removable lenses.
Yeah. So I was wondering whether I would actually have a need for this type of camera if I already own several alpha cameras. Obviously, it's a fixed lens, and so you've got to work out if this was going to be your only camera, whether the focal range was enough. Obviously, 200 isn't that long. We can obviously shoot in an extra zoom mode, sort of digital zoom, or we can go into those sort of, not ideal, I have to say. And wide for me isn't probably as wide as I often like to go. I like to go out beyond the 24mm. Now, on this particular camera, they're using equivalent, so it's a 24-200 equivalent. That's not the actual focal length of the lens. But for my landscape, I often like to go out as wide as 16 or even wider. And so this couldn't be my only camera. But where it's of interest is sometimes, I suppose you're the same, is we want to go out and we don't want to take the whole kit. We don't want to take the extra 3 lenses. We just want to grab one camera and run.
Or if you're traveling, for instance, it's handy to have the smallest possible kit.
Yeah. And so when you see this lens sitting here, this is the 10 times zoom for the A7 system, so it's a full frame lens. It's quite a heavy chunk. I think I put it in the same sort of weight margin. I actually haven't put these on, but they feel about the same weight, to be honest. So this is 24-240, so slightly longer on the zoom range. But I'd be torn whether to buy this for the A7 to go out with this, or actually just have one of these, to be honest. And look, if you're working with one of the older A7 cameras, then the other attractive features for a camera like this is its video capability. This has got 4K internal recording. Wow. It's got that high frame rate burst, up to 1000 frames per second.
From a video background myself, that's something every videographer lusts after.
Yeah. And a couple of things that I really enjoyed about working with this camera is just a couple of the features that I haven't seen for quite a while, and that is an aperture ring actually on the barrel of the lens here. So you're just going to be working with your hand supporting some of the weight of the lens. But we can either go in click stops, or and there's a little lever underneath the lens where we can actually go in click stops.
Wow.
Okay, that's good for obviously stills shooters. So, and one of the things that's really nice about having the aperture on the lens is if we want to go from wide to well stop down, it's like faster than you can actually dial it in with your dial. And if we want shooting video, we can actually go clickless and then create a very smooth iris pull.
Wow, that's really handy to have, because again, that's usually the reserve of dedicated cine lenses.
Yeah, and we've got a sort of a power zoom feature, so we can zoom either with a little lever by the shutter release or with the barrel itself. And so this is really quite well set up for video shooters. It's got the most recent XAVC-S codec, so we're recording at very low compression rates. I think there's an option here to compress as little as 100 megabits per second.
Wow.
So this would lend itself to very heavy grading. So again, if you're working with an older, one of the original A7 models, you're probably going to get superior video off this camera than you are off your older A7 cameras.
That's very impressive.
Yeah. So I'm not too sure which one I'd actually recommend, to be honest, whether to go for the 10 times zoom, okay, or to go with this RX10 Mark II.
Yeah. Would this perhaps be a good second camera to have?
Yeah, that's where I would fit this into a system, really, is if you're not ready to grade up to an A7R2 or an A7S2 or an A7 II, maybe, and you were looking for a second camera, maybe your partner is constantly wanting to borrow something to shoot the kids' soccer match or something, then maybe this is the camera that you keep in the glove box of the car or in your shopping bag or whatever, that emergency camera or the useful second camera.
Yep.
Okay, great.
And in terms of the form factor and the weight itself, now you and I both have the A6000 as kind of a runabout town, everyday trot around camera to quickly pull in and out. How did you find the RX10 Mark II compared to the portability, I suppose?
Yeah, look, if portability was your absolute priority, then I would actually look at, and you didn't need the zoom. If you didn't need the zoom, I would definitely start looking at the RX100. That's got the form factor that you can actually put the whole thing in a small jacket pocket or in a woman's clutch bag. They're really, really quite compact. But if you're difficult to say. This is actually a larger and slightly heavier camera than the A6000 with the kit lens. I think you're probably going to be looking at an additional 25% weight over an A6000. And so again, if you were looking for your only camera, I'd probably go for an interchangeable lens camera and not this one. Okay, but for second camera, I probably wouldn't hesitate to recommend this.
Because of course, if you're carrying this camera, you probably wouldn't need to carry too many other lenses. And if you're looking to shoot video, perhaps when you're traveling, beautiful 4K footage, and that added advantage of the high frame rate, definitely gives it a few kind of notches in its favor.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to have the choice of taking other lenses because you're going to actually get them on here. Yeah. So your only other accessories might be a tripod or a flash. It's got a hot shoe. The RX100 Mark IV and 3 for that matter lost its hot shoe.
Right. So
you're basically committed to either shooting in ambient light or with the pop-up flash. And we've got the pop-up flash here as well, but we also have the hot shoe for putting on a much larger flash. So all intents and purposes, if that 24-200 range for you on the lens is probably all you're likely to use, this may well fit into the only camera category.
Wow, very good. Well, there you have it, folks. The new Sony RX10 Mark II.